Hello, this is the new school year video for social studies in the year 2022. Last year I made a video up in the Lehigh Gap, and the year before that I was in Bethlehem in front of the big steel plant. But this year, I'm just in a field of rocks. There's not even a whole lot here, it's just 4 acres worth of rocks. And the reason why is because I think it will give us some perspective. Now I know you've been thinking about the new school year already. You've probably been in your classroom trying to decorate it like you're making over a home for HGTV. You've been labeling desks and chairs and folders and baskets. You've probably been looking through the new ELA stuff or new math stuff. You've been looking at emails and IEPs, and you've probably been thinking about the students and parents who are going to be a big part of your world for the next 10 months. That all comes with the territory. Even the veteran teachers are going through that. But these rocks are 200 million years old. How's that for perspective? You're worried about what's going to happen in the next 4 days? These rocks are older than North America itself. Geologists say that when the giant continent of Pangaea broke apart 200 million years ago, that caused a break in the Earth's crust, and the lava that came out cooled and became these rocks. 100,000 years ago, there was a glacier in northern Pennsylvania. This area was like the tundra. And when that glacier started to melt and then freeze again and melt and freeze again, those wild swings in temperature broke up these rocks to be the way that you see now. They've been here for thousands of years. So when you think about the stress in your life, when you're worried about the high cost of your next mistake, when you're worried about the crisis that seems to lurk around every corner nowadays, and you stack it up against the time scales of nature, it doesn't seem so bad. Sometimes that perspective is helpful to consider. Even with social studies. Now you've probably noticed there's a box of journals in your classroom. TCI now has student journals. Each student will have their own journal that they can write in and take home at the end of the school year. You'll get a whole new fresh set next year. TCI has replaced their hardcover textbooks with that student journal. Now, it doesn't mean that we're doing every single lesson in the journal. We're not going through it soup to nuts. We're still going to use TCI as we have used it in the past. But that journal will keep you away from the copy machine and help out students because they'll have that little ownership of their stuff. TCI also has its same old online component. You can get into it by just clicking Login with Google when you get to their website, because our accounts are now connected through Genesis using the program called Clever. We use that for some other programs as well. So every teacher and every student has an online account with TCI. So if you have students who need to have the text read aloud, they have that capability. TCI also is integrated with Google Classroom. Now we're not going to jump into that right away. Don't think that you have to do that. But eventually we might find times when it's effective to put a TCI lesson directly into Google Classroom. We're still using TCI as we have used it in the past. We're going to link it together with the homegrown lessons that we have and still teach the same way. If you look at the website, you'll notice that each unit page is designed a little differently now. We're trying to improve the way you can get lessons and see what's available to do. Now, each page has, on the left-hand side for the unit, it has a Google slideshow that's embedded in the page where you can click through a couple of slides and see the highlights from the unit and the calendar down to the individual days that you have for each unit. On the right-hand side, we're trying to build a lesson catalog in a Google slideshow so you can click through the slides and see a quick description of what the lesson is, what the materials are, about how long it will take, and you can see what is available for each unit and decide how that fits into the schedule that you have. So that's how we've got to our start to social studies this year. All I can say to you is just look out for each other. If there's any one thing I can tell you to do, it's just to keep an eye out on your colleagues like you keep an eye out on the students. Some people will let you know when they need help, some people won't, but we'll all need it. No one gets through a school year alone. And one more thing before I go. Listen to this. You thought this was just a bunch of rocks, like any old rocks, but when you hit them with a hammer, they ring. The scientists say that these rocks are a mix of iron and aluminum. It's some sort of diabase stuff that I didn't know about until I read about it yesterday. But there's something about the sonorous quality of these rocks that make them ring. This is Ringing Rocks Park in Black Eddy, Pennsylvania. And the rocks ring when you hit them with a hammer. You thought, when this video started, it's just rocks. Now you know they're special. They're a little bit different. When you see students in the next couple days on that first day of school, they're going to look like the students you've had every year. But, just like these rocks, they're going to surprise you in unexpected ways. All you have to do is figure out how to work with them, how to get to know them, and how to bring those special qualities out. That's what teachers do. And one last thing. Over the years, people have stolen these rocks. They've hauled them off home because they thought it would be really neat to be the only people in their neighborhood that has a rock in their garden that rings. But they found out that when they got them home, they didn't ring anymore. Scientists have replicated this. They haven't quite figured it out, but there's something about the sonorous quality of these rocks. They only ring when they're together. When you separate them, they don't ring anymore. That's another metaphor to think about. Have a great year. Hope to see you soon. Thanks for listening.